incredible rescue! Early one quiet morning on the edge of a tropical forest, a farmer named Daniel walked toward his small stable to feed his animals. The sun had just begun to rise, painting the sky orange and pink. Birds were chirping and everything seemed peaceful. But suddenly, a loud, desperate neigh shattered the calm. Daniel froze. The sound was coming from the field behind the stable. He ran toward the noise, his heart pounding. As he reached the tall grass, he saw something that made him gasp in shock. His horse, Thunder, was lying on the ground, struggling desperately. Wrapped around Thunder's powerful body was a massive python, its thick coils tightening like a living rope. The giant snake had ambushed the horse while it was grazing. Each time Thunder tried to move, the python squeezed tighter. The poor animal kicked and neighed in terror, but the snake's grip only grew stronger. "Help! Someone help!" Daniel shouted as loud as he could. His cries echoed across the nearby road, where a few workers were repairing a fence. Hearing the panic in his voice, 3 men dropped their tools and ran toward the field. When they arrived, they couldn't believe their eyes. The python was enormous, easily over 20 feet long. Its powerful muscles were wrapped around Thunder's chest and legs, slowly squeezing the life out of the frightened horse. "We have to act fast," one of the men shouted. The rescuers grabbed long sticks and ropes from the nearby shed. Carefully, they moved closer. The snake lifted its head and hissed loudly, warning them to stay away. But the men didn't back down. One brave rescuer distracted the python by tapping its tail with a long stick. As the snake shifted its attention, the other 2 quickly pulled at the eider coils wrapped around the horse. The python tightened its grip again, making Thunder cry out in pain. "Hold on, boy, we're here," Daniel said, trying to calm his horse. The situation was extremely dangerous. One wrong move and the snake could strike. But the rescuers kept working together, pulling, pushing, and loosening the coils little by little. After several tense moments, finally one of the coils slipped loose. "Now, pull!" one man yelled. With all their strength, the rescuers dragged the heavy snake away from the horse. The snake thrashed wildly, but the men managed to push it back into the tall grass, where it slowly slithered away toward the forest. The field suddenly became quiet again. Thunder lay on the ground, breathing heavily, but alive. Daniel rushed to his horse and gently held its head. "You're safe now," he whispered. The brave rescuers helped Thunder stand up. The horse was shaken and exhausted, but miraculously it had survived the deadly attack. Everyone looked at each other in relief. What could have ended in tragedy had turned into an incredible rescue thanks to the courage and teamwork of a few fearless heroes. And from that day on, the story of Thunder and the giant python became a reminder that sometimes bravery and quick action can save a life when it matters most.
Moment. As the rescuers caught their breath, the morning sun had risen higher above the trees, casting warm light across the field. For a moment, everyone stood silently, watching Thunder struggle to steady himself. The horse's legs trembled from exhaustion, and deep marks from the python's coils were visible across his body. Daniel gently stroked Thunder's neck. "Easy, boy. Take it slow," he said softly. Thunder let out a tired snort, but he remained standing. The brave horse had survived something few animals ever escape. One of the rescuers, a tall man named Mike, looked toward the forest where the snake had disappeared. "That thing was huge," he said, shaking his head. "I've never seen a python that big around here." Another rescuer, Carlos, nodded. "It must have come from deep in the jungle looking for food." Daniel felt a chill run down his spine. If the snake had attacked Thunder once, there was always a chance it could come back. We should move the animals closer to the house for a few days, and maybe build stronger fences. The men agreed. But before they could finish talking, Thunder suddenly lifted his head and snorted loudly, staring toward the tall grass again. Everyone turned at once. The grass near the edge of the field began to rustle. For a moment, no one moved. The men gripped their sticks tighter, their eyes locked on the swaying grass. "Please don't tell me that thing came back," Mike whispered. The rustling grew louder. Then suddenly, two large birds burst out of the grass and flew into the sky. The men immediately sighed in relief. "It's just birds," Carlos laughed nervously. "Looks like we're all still a little shaken." Daniel smiled weakly. "After what we just saw, I think anyone would be." The group carefully walked Thunder back toward the stable. Every step was slow, but the horse kept moving, determined to stay on his feet. Inside the stable, Daniel brought fresh water and gently cleaned the marks left by the snake. Thunder drank deeply, his strength slowly returning. "You're one tough horse," Daniel said with a proud smile. The rescuers stayed for a while to make sure everything was okay. They checked the fences around the field and closed every gap where a wild animal might enter. "Better safe than sorry," Mike said as he hammered the last wooden post into the ground. By midday, the farm had returned to its usual calm. Birds chirped again, and the wind moved gently through the trees. But the story of what happened that morning spread quickly through the nearby town. By evening, neighbors were stopping by the farm, amazed to hear about the giant python and the daring rescue. "I heard the snake was longer than a truck," one man exclaimed. "And they pulled it off the horse with their bare hands," another added. Daniel laughed. "Well, maybe not bare hands. We did have some sticks and ropes. But everyone knew the truth. Without courage and teamwork, Thunder would not have survived." As the sun began to set, Daniel walked out to the stable one more time. Thunder was resting comfortably, calmly chewing hay as if nothing had happened. Daniel leaned against the fence and looked toward the distant forest. Somewhere out there, the giant python was still roaming the wild. Nature could be beautiful, but it could